Hey, this is my 3SFE out of our 99 RAV4 we've had for uh, probably 13 years now. We're rebuilding the engine. Just thought I'd go through a couple little things that you might want to know about this dumb engine. The first thing is the spark plugs. So I did not know this until now, but this ignition system has a specially designed coils that are made for the double grounded spark plugs. If you go to a normal auto store and order spark plugs, you may get the wrong one. So if you look at the part number for this is here, BKR6EKPB-11, and this is only for I believe 98 and 99 RAV4s, maybe 2000s, I'm not sure, but so yeah. Now the other thing, after maintaining this engine for a while, I've realized is, so this is how a normal engine sits in a car, but of course not in the RAV4. It sits like that, so that creates a potential for an oil leak on the back of this valve cover gasket because the oil's kind of pooling down here. Sorry, I'm not a wizard with the camera here. So I would recommend, you change this valve cover gasket maybe every 2 years, because it's very likely you're leaking oil here, and then it just covers the whole back of this engine with slime. It just gets disgusting. That's how this engine was, just a mess, just absolute, practically a fire hazard of oil sludge back there. So anyways, I'm going to make it my new habit to change this valve cover every 2 years. I had done it once or twice before, but I'm just going to do it every 2 years now, just so that doesn't happen again. Now, what else? So use the right spark plugs, change your valve cover every 2 years. Yeah, let's see here. Trying to think of a couple other things that I had. So this engine got rebuilt by it's called SunWest in Spokane, Washington. I'm in Yakima, Washington, so I drove up there a few hours and they rebuilt it. Yeah, so let's see how it does. This one had about 180,000 miles, if you care. So we'll see how long it lasts now. What else? Anything else that's interesting? So when I took this engine out, I left the wiring harness in the car. I kind of later realized it's not that hard to get this wiring harness out of the car, because if you go under the passenger side dash, unclip a couple panels. There's 5 plugins there, and then there's a ground. It's pretty easy to just pull the whole thing out. But then you also have on the other side, the harness links into this box. So you got to pull this top off and take a couple bolts off there and a plug in there. And then it's kind of funky to get this little panel out. I've struggled with that for a little while. I don't have any special tips for getting that out, but it does come out somehow. What else? Yeah, well, I had it out, back here where the oil was leaking, just like sludge mess. So sprayed some degreaser and water and air hosed it out. Also did a little bit of this car was in Wisconsin for 10 years, so it has a little bit of corrosion. Luckily it lives in the desert now, so it's not too bad, but spray painted some of the little rusty spots, tried to get a little bit off. Didn't get that crazy. Yeah, the one thing I realized too is I initially was going to pull the motor out through the top, but this transmission is this shaft on the so you got this is a 4-wheel drive, so you got the transmission here and you got the transfer case right there. That shaft for the transmission case goes way back, so I mean, you could disconnect the transmission. The best way to do it is first you want to remove that little subframe, which is not that bad. There's 6 bolts holding that in, 6 big bolts holding that in, and then you gotta undo the power steering lines, and then the shaft that goes to the power steering rack, there's 1 bolt. I had problems with that. That was rusted in there. I really had to whack that shaft out, right? That guy right there. I had some serious issues getting that out because it was so rusty, but yeah, so drop that, and then drop the engine and transmission to the ground. What I did, I used a 4x4 and a jack, and then jacked it up as high as I could and was able to slide the motor out after, and I dropped it to the ground. So that's a little bit of tips of taking it out. Yeah, I don't know what other tips I had. So, all right, if you got any questions, you can leave them in the comments. So, thanks.